Dehancer is a film-like color grading plugin for DaVinci Resolve in my case. So today we are going to see what it can exactly do. This is not going to be a hype video, but this is going to be an honest review. I will show you some real footage which I shot with my Sony a7 IV in S-Log 3. I will show you how I color graded it in DaVinci with the use of the Dehancer. In this video we are going to see how the Dehancer works in the DaVinci. We will see how it handles the film emulation, the halation, the grain and the colors. So let's get into it. So before I show you how I do it in DaVinci with Dehancer, I just wanted to say that Dehancer reached out to me for an honest review. They didn't tell me what to say, and because I already been using it for quite some of the time, I just wanted to share my opinion. It really changed my footage, gave it a different feel, and I love everything connected to film. So let's start. Just as first note, I want to say that I always, when I color grade, I do not use proxies, but I use camera originals, and because I get the best footage quality where I can have the best preview of the color grading I do. So to my project settings, my master settings are set to the 4K because this is also a 4K footage. And I set my timeline format and video monitoring to 4K, and my timeline frame rate is set to 25. So my color management settings are set like this. And this is my final color grade I did for this project. Just that you see the difference when I turn the Dehancer off and on just with one plugin, that you can achieve so much. I mean, I did some adjustments in the notes here. I just color transform it and I put it at the end, the Dehancer, and as you can see, it gives an amazing result. Like an example here, if I just turn the Dehancer off and on, it makes such a difference, really. Yeah, it's a great plugin. You have to try it. For the sake of this video, I'm going to delete everything and we are going to color grade it from the beginning. So let's create a corrector, a node. I will fast forward this part so you don't have to watch everything how I create. At the beginning, at the end, I always put the color space transform node. After the color space transform out, I always put the Dehancer node. For my color space transform, I always put it like this, as you can see on the screen. And for my color space transform out, I always then put it to DaVinci Wide Gamut, DaVinci Intermediate, and to Rec 709 and Gamma 2.4. So I always use luminance mapping and saturation compression. So let's do this a little bit apart so we have some more space. If you press Alt and S, then you can create a node. So always to remember is between the in and out color space transform, you have to correct your white balance, exposure, and I like always to do some curves. This is going to be a simple color edit just for the sake of this video, so you can get feeling how easy it is to color grade with Dehancer and how fast you can give a film look, a character to the footage just with the use of the Dehancer. So to correct the white balance, in this case, I wanted to be the footage a little bit in the blue tone. So the white balance node, I always right click it and go to the gamma and put it into the linear mode. And in the primary color wheels, I always adjust it with the gain. You can adjust it, of course, it depends what you like. But for this one, I wanted it to be a little bit bluish. So the exposure, I always edit or adjust in the HDR panel in the color wheels. So I put the lights a little bit down, a little bit the shadows, and a little bit the dark. So then I go to the curves. I always make the curves. I always do like an S curve. I always push the blacks a little bit up so they get a little bit softer, and then you can just adjust as you like it. But I always look to achieve like this S curve, and I put the highlights down so they do not crush the footage. So this looks nice. If you look at the waveform, now it looks much better. Nothing is clipping. So okay, we corrected our footage, so now it's time to add the Dehancer node, which I already did, so I want just to label it Dehancer. So when you turn it on, it already has some stuff that are enabled, so you have to enable everything. If you press Alt and just press somewhere in the film or the film developer or input, it doesn't matter, it will compress everything down. So we have a better preview of the options that you have in the Dehancer to adjust. So if you go down to the options, I press always the disable all tools, so it disables everything. So let's go to the beginning. The input, I do not touch input because I always color grade in the color space transform, and I set my exposure, temperature and everything in the nodes in between from the color space. For film and print are the first two things that I always turn on. I always, or in the most cases, I use the codec 2383 print film, and when you enable it, it already gives it this print film look that you have to adjust. The first thing I do is the print film, and then I choose the film. You have a variety of the films you can choose from. I think there are 60 or 70 or something like that, but for this look I wanted this blue tone codec Extra 100, which I already used in this case, so it gave for me the best look that I wanted to achieve. And you always should play with this push and pull, because you can, as you can see, you can achieve some different looks, and it depends what you want to achieve. So try it out and try them all, because every of them can give you a very different look. So let's go to the film developer. When you choose a film profile, in the most cases it steals always the saturation, it gives it a certain look. So you have to adjust the film to your footage. So you have a film developer where you can adjust the colors. I always push the colors a little bit up because I want to receive the colors that they were already in the footage, and I push the contrast a little bit higher. So the next one is film compression. The film compression is good when you have too much highlights in the footage and you want to bring the highlights back to normal. So I always use the film compression when I have higher highlights. So as you can see, when I already turn it, you can see in the waveform the highlights went down. So I do not overkill it, but I use it always softly and adjust my white points in this matter because I wanted it not to be too much dark and bluish, but more. So I'm going to push the whites a little bit to the left. Then you can adjust the tonal range also, but in the most cases I don't use it, and the color density also not. If you want, you can also expand the film look with adjusting the blacks and the whites, but I normally do it in the nodes in between the color space transform. So in the most cases I do not use expand, but sometimes you can push the blacks a little bit up or down or reduce the blacks, so you can play also with it and achieve some different looks. Let's say this one is going to be like this. Then you have the print film. You have a variety of the print films. You have linear, Cineon, Fujifilm. It all gives you a different look, but in the most cases I use this one because I like it the most. Sometimes you have to adjust it a little bit so you get the best out of it. So let's say like this. Color density, push it a little bit higher. There are not so many colors in this scene, but you get to the point. And analog range limiter, I don't use it. I just use the print film as it is and I adjust it to my likings. So color head is what I always use, because with the color head you can always adjust some of the colors, and you can even push it even more with the film or with the look which we are going for. So I'm going to adjust it just a little bit. Don't do it too much because you can overkill it, as you can see in the footage here if I do it too much. So let's do it this black. And I always recommend that you also play a lot with the curves, with the red, green and the blue. You can achieve a lot with just curves, and with the color head from the Dehancer you can get some really great results. But I want to keep this video short as possible, so I do not want to talk about everything, and this is just for the purpose of this video to show you how the Dehancer can, with just some minor adjustments, can add so much to your footage. So the shadows, let's keep the shadows a little bit more to the green, so the green also pops up. The trees in the back are a little bit of the green. Okay, I like this one more. And okay, this one I'm not going to use. Okay, I think this is already looking nice. We adjusted some colors, but like I said, colors can you also adjust in the nodes in between. So then you can also add some film grain. I always do it subtle with the custom settings, but you can choose from 8mm to 65mm, just to show you what it can do with the film grain, and it does a really good job. As you can see, just with one click and with adjustment of the mount, you can the grain as much as you want, and it does a really good job, and the footage also looks very good. So, but what I always do is the custom settings, I push everything a little bit down. I push everything a little bit down. Just the film resolution stays as it is, and then I play with the amount, how much I want it, but it gives it a little bit not this digital look, and that's why I like it very subtle. And yeah, so this is from the film grain. It does a really good job, and it's nice to have it in the Dehancer plugin already. Then you have the halation. You have some variety also here. You can choose from, I don't know, like Super 35. If I zoom in, then you can see what it does. You can also amplify, you can also push it a little bit down, adjust it to your likings. Okay, let's say it like this is okay. And bloom, you can add it if you want a little bit dreamier look, but in this case I already used the mist filter, so in this case I'm not going to use it, but it's a nice option to have it inside of the Dehancer. Yeah, you just have to enable it and adjust it. When I forget my mist filter at home and I want to put some bloom into the footage, then I always use the custom settings and put just a little bit to it, so it doesn't get too much and I don't overkill it. So the next is film damage, which I don't use, as also the film breadth and gate weave. Then you have an option of overscan. This is like this film look of a Super 8 from an old camera. If you like something like this, you can do it in a Dehancer and it makes a really good job. You can adjust everything. You can adjust the position of the footage. You can make the gate shape off or on, or sharp or rounded. You can make it off, the perforation mode. You can make it positive, negative, as you like, and you can play a little bit with it. But then you have to also adjust your footage to look like it was shot on a Super 8 or 16 or a Super 35 camera. So yeah, this is also very nice to have in it. It's a nice feature that Dehancer offers. So then you can also put some vignette to the footage. If we enable this, I always do first the feather out so that I can see where the vignette is going to be affected. Then you can also adjust the center just with the click of the mouse. As you can see, I always do not overkill it. I'll always, or in the most cases, I use it at -10. and I make it a little bit larger and I feather it out. So let's push it a little bit harder so you can see the difference. So yeah, I do not use it that much of vignette in here because I would like to do it with the gradient tools, and I think it's a better way for me. And sometimes when I'm in a hurry I will use vignette, but in this case let's turn it off. Then you have an option of monitoring. You have some false colors in it and you have some clipping indication. If you overdo something, then it will show you, like when you push the darks too much, then it will turn everything blue where it overkills it. And let's turn it back, and if you push the whites, then it will appear like red dots, or it will turn everything in red. Good monitoring options when you are clipping or when you pushed everything too hard. So it's a nice thing to have also, but in the most cases I turn it off, while sometimes when I want to achieve some look where the highlights are a little bit too over and then are some red dots visible in the shot, and I exported sometimes the files with the red dots, and that's why I check it on to see if I'm clipping anywhere and then I turn it off. So then you have an option of the output. You can always decrease some of the Dehancer settings you did or overdid, but normally I leave it at 100. Then you can generate some personal LUTs if you want. You can export, so you can have this look exported as a LUT cube. So in the options you can adjust your quality. I always put it into the high slow, so I get the best result of the export of the Dehancer. Then you can check your license info, check your profiles, and you can disable all your tools. That's it with the Dehancer. And just to show you what kind of the difference the Dehancer makes, if I turn it off and on, I think I don't have to say too much because you can already see what kind of the difference it makes just with the Dehancer plugin, and how easy it is to achieve a look like this. Of course, I could achieve the look much better, but it's really amazing. It's a really amazing plugin, and I'm so glad that I have it because my color grading got much better with it, and I achieved this film look like very simpler, and I can just recommend it. I will also leave a link in my description where you can get 10% off of the subscription if you want to try the Dehancer. So yeah, if this video helped you, please leave a like and please subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.